Josiah.
He sounds like a withered old fuck now. Like if you see him on News Nation, you know that he's like 6'4". He's always had that like very powerful voice, and he sounds like decrepit now.
It's because he is. I mean,
Yeah, what's going on with him?
he's very old.
He's probably got to be pushing 80. I'm thinking he's pushing 80. And it's just not.
80.
It doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same when he gets into it with Leland Vittert,
Who's that?
he's an ex-Fox News host who's on News Nation. He's one of the like reasonable, enlightened centrists who always bitches at the left and thinks that the right's pretty much okay.
I'm about to blow your mind, though. He's 3 years younger than Trump.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Trump
just has the blood of the Moloch children, and he can just survive as long as he needs to.
So what you're saying is that Bill O'Reilly is going to be the next Democratic nominee in 2028. It's going to be Bill O'Reilly. His time has come. Well, fellas, what's new? What's popping? Welcome to Live and Learn. I'm back. I'm back with the gang.
We're so happy to have you back.
I don't think that's true. I played some of the recaps. I'm not going to lie. Everybody's voice was like up half an octave. There was like Hutch was smiling a hell of a lot more. I do know that. I don't know. I don't think you guys missed me at all.
I really missed you. I think that you, in general, you bring this je ne sais quoi to Live and Learn. And,
Sorry, I don't speak French. I was educated in Kentucky.
You're like the authority figure, almost like the moderator of the debate that we're not having, and like without you, we're just like, oh God, like Dad's not home. Are we allowed to like use the oven? You know?
Listen, I don't want to totally glaze you, buddy, but you killed it as the moderator. Like, what's funny was when the first show without me aired. And there was like a proper introduction. I'm like, that's a really good fucking idea. We should like say like, welcome to Live and Learn. Like I'm over here like taking notes and whatever, you know? Listen, I walked so you could run. I just laid it down for you and you were taking off and you killed it. So I'm taking notes from you.
I used what little energy I had left. You should have. You're so lucky it wasn't a third in a row. It would have been
That's
a disaster.
bullshit. Your little propeller was no bullshit. Your propeller was spinning.
They're running around. The files are all on fire. That's what I was at my limit. I couldn't take it without you. So thanks for coming back.
Well, yes, I am back. Welcome to Live and Learn. We've got Hutch, the lead liberal. We've got the soy pill, who I don't even know how he identifies, quite frankly. We've got me from Pondering Politics. We've got the preeminent liberal TikTok debater, the debate slayer. I have to emphasize debate slayer of IRI on Jubilee. And then we have the second best attorney in the Twitch poll space.
Next to Ryan Mullally?
No, I was gonna go Mike from PA, but now I just go third. PA. He is the third best lawyer in the Twitch poll. No, I'm just kidding. What's up, Pisco?
Real quick. Can you turn your mic actually down a little bit?
Mine?
Yeah, Josiah.
What about now?
Better.
I was gonna say Pisco's a little quiet for me.
I'm a little quiet. I can get a little closer.
Oh, that's better.
I'll sit up. I'll sit up.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you knew about this, Josiah, but when you made me admin, I found out there's little sliders for each individual people, so you can like be like, fucking Hutch, get him down, and like turn up Pisco. So
no. So I try to do that when people alert me to the fact that microphone, gain needs to be changed. But
he's like trying to teach you how to be a better.
He's over here.
Yeah. So intros. Here's the sliders. There's all
like,
these great features you've not been using.
So he's like, Josiah, you can actually read super chats in real time. You just sound out the words phonetically. You've got some help here. If somebody get confused, it's like a whole thing. Thanks, buddy.
Well, yeah. I think that you're doing a great job, Josiah. I think soy pill sucks. But in general, are we on to our first topic? Because we got a lot to talk about, folks.
I actually think it's been an uneventful week. So I'm not sure there's really anything to talk about, really. I was actually scrambling to come up with what could we possibly be talking about. But in all seriousness, I think the two topics that we settled on, obviously, the brutal assassination of Charlie Kirk and a looming government shutdown. And before we get started, were there any other like major topics that I missed? Because those seem to be the big ones.
Well, I mean, just the assassination itself kind of overshadowed the other shooting that happened that day in Colorado, committed by what I presume and what I read to be like a white nationalist neo-Nazi. But
no, I'm sure he's radical left. Okay, if you listen to anybody on the right, it's all the radical left. So
yeah, which is like very frustrating because like in the same breath of look at like, the left needs to tone the rhetoric down. This is what happens. It's like this happened the same day. And like no one like I'm not saying this is the right's fault, by the way. Like the left isn't really talking about it either because it's not nearly as big. But it's just wild to me that got completely swept under the rug.
There was also a student killed today at Delta University.
Jesus, another
Did you
one.
see this?
Shooting? Was it a shooting?
Oh, somebody was literally lynched,
Oh my
What the
god.
fuck?
like hanging from a tree, lynched.
No, I don't even know. If we
Damn.
can we even show that
fucked
shit?
up.
We definitely can't show it.
No,
but
obviously not.
No, like any, like even like any. I don't know what we'd reference here. I'm looking at. Was it Trayvon Reed?
Actually, I don't know if somebody was lynched. Like it might have been ruled a unaliving situation. I don't know. I just saw a tweet and then I reacted to it impulsively. But yeah,
touch. You can't do that.
Unaliving.
apologize. Like self unaliving. I mean. Yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. That was a fucking
That's okay.
hell of a detour for the conversation.
I just refreshed the page and I'll say that Oasis is adding more dates to their U.S. Reunion tour. So there's something about that.
wow.
I was a big Oasis fan.
I mean, something interesting to talk about that is like not as like bleak and depressing is NASA thinks that they might have found like really strong evidence that like bacterial life existed there at one point.
Where?
is
At NASA?
First contact.
I
That's
saw
good.
Hutch. I saw
In,
you tweeting about that, and all I could think was like you at the back of like a Trump rally, being like, "Guys, there's life on Mars. Guys, look at this!" And like just shouting over the crowd.
I mean, it's a big deal. Like if we can verify that life came about like independently, because I don't know, I guess there's a chance that Earth got hit by like an asteroid and then a chunk of that went to Mars and that's the reason. But if they can verify that it was like independent, first of all, if they can verify that it was life, and second of all, if they can verify that it happened independently of Earth, then it basically suggests that the universe is like fucking teeming with life, which is really cool and important discovery.
Counterpoint. Where is that mentioned in the Bible?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah, so this must have happened within the past, is it 6,000 years? So where in the 6,000 year timeline in the multiverse did this occur?
I don't have any answers for you. I'm going to wait
Yeah.
for NASA. Yeah.
Then I guess we're going to have to wait to talk about that next week when we have more information. Thanks, Hutch.
We're actually not going to have like more information until like the 2030s when we can bring the like we can bring back samples and
Now
test it here on Earth.
listen. Elon Musk is going to take care of it all, okay? Because he's an aeronautics genius. You know, it's all about space travel. He wants to colonize Mars. He's got this. I think he's going to exceed expectations, and he's really good about beating timetables. So, well known for that. All right, buddy. You probably even more so than me stay fixated on the political news. So again, before we jump into the Kirk assassination and the government shutdown, is there any other major political news that we could round out for a third topic?
I guess I would just bring up Trump wants to deploy the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee. He pushed out on Chicago for some reason with no explanation, but he's going to Memphis. He's bringing the tour there, I guess.
He doesn't want to fuck with Pritzker. He's intimidated.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay, we'll close on
Do you
that
guys
one.
not think that the Nepal like revolution was consequential at all?
Who? What?
Oh, of course.
Like a big revolution in Nepal?
What's in Nepal? Again, I was educated in Kentucky. As far as I'm aware,
yeah,
there's
imagine
only...
like India but smaller.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Look, all the international stuff is important, but I spend most of my time on the domestic things.
Same.
But yeah.
Same.
Okay.
No, yeah, we'll close on the on like Trump's latest domestic developments, but obviously, I mean, we should start with the ongoing fallout of the political assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm curious. I think I actually learned about it indirectly through Hutch, because I can't remember if it was in our group text or if it was on Twitter, but I saw Hutch go fuck. So I think Hutch, you were the first one to break the news in this group. How did you find? Like, how did you find out?
What day was it? Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? Was it Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah, I was live. I don't remember what time it was, like 10 or 11 a.m. It might have been around noon because I think maybe he was shot around 3. But somebody just came into my chat and typed in all caps, Charlie Kirk was shot. And then I started looking at the videos. And the first video I saw was, like 100 feet back. And so, it was obvious that he was hit and he fell. But it was such a distance that you're looking and you're like, oh, what is that? Is that blood? Is that a dark spot like on his neck? And then it was, like maybe 10 minutes later, somebody linked a video that was more up close. And at that point, I think it was like pretty obvious to everybody who saw that video that he was not going to make it. And then, the rest of the day, it was fucking just depressing.
Is this going to be the new, like, where were you on 9/11 or like in 10 years? Or do you think we're actually...
Well, it was literally on 9/11. So I mean,
9/10, Josiah.
Oh, it was it? Fuck you.
It was,
No, it
yeah,
wasn't.
It was the day before.
It was the day before.
Oh,
I mean,
I
it
would have
does.
known, because
in my
otherwise I would
mind,
have tweeted out some sort of thing.
I think Relevant was having a conversation with somebody who suggested that this was like worse than 9/11. Obviously, I think that's a bit hyperbolic, but this does feel like a pretty significant moment, a pretty significant crossroads, and
Yeah, Chank said it was one of the worst days in American history, and I was like, it's not even one of the worst things to happen this year, as bad as it is. Like, are you really like saying this is worse than like cutting U.S. aid? Is this really worse than kicking 17 million people off of Medicare? Like, it's bad. Don't get me wrong, but like, I thought that was wild that's the take that Chank had.
yeah, and I guess in
Dude,
terms of
that's-
like the inherent destructiveness of the act, I mean, it's obviously it's a murder and it's terrible, but if you're talking about like the long-term implications of USAID, but I mean, to Hutch's point, the political consequences and the political ramifications of this, I think, could be pretty massive depending on what the government does, and obviously we'll talk about that as we go on. But IRI, you were saying something?
I mean, I just say that from Jank is just like internet brain. Like, dude, come on. I know you went on the victory tour back in December and Charlie's stage and all that, but like, this is going to be forgotten, I think, in like a week or two max. I'm sorry. The news cycle moves so quickly that I've already seen like newscasts not talk about it at the beginning already.
I would normally have disagreed with you, IRI, but after the Trump thing, I can't disagree. Like, I've seen how fast this moves now, and it's like there's a very good chance that in a month people don't talk about this. Don't get me wrong, the right wing will absolutely be like, remember this, and like every time they're going to bring it up in a debate, but like the general public like talking about it, I think is going to not be nearly so intensive as people are making it out to be. But maybe that's just me being optimistic.
Yeah, I got a friend who was really he was a fan of Charlie Kirk's, and he was really upset by what happened. And we had a lot of conversations after Kirk's murder, and he thinks it's so impactful that it's going to like change the outcome of not just the 2026 election but the 2028 election. And that's where I kind of like on that time horizon I take the more IRI approach, which is I don't think a year from now this is going to be a salient issue whatsoever. Now, I'm not prepared to say by next week it's not going to be a major element in the news, but I don't think like this is going to have a massive impact for 2026. On the other hand, what the Trump administration intends to do with it. Plus, I hear like there were a bunch like thousands of chapter applications for like TPUSA chapters were popping up all over the place. So he could have like a real posthumous effect, which is even greater than what he had in life.
So, Bill, we can hear you typing when you do that. By the
Oh,
way.
Jesus. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to mute every time I do it.
I think
That's what happens now that my mic is good.
He's writing his fan fiction, by the way, his erotic fan fiction.
Is it
Pisco,
bad?
go ahead,
Well,
buddy.
let me just ask now. Is it bad decorum to reply to the chatters? I feel bad for them. They're like,
No.
saying
You're
this.
good.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
That's all
Go
good.
ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And Pisco, go ahead, buddy.
Oh, I was going to say, I think the attack was horrific, and I think it can have some significance. If for anything, it'll give another basis. Not that they need much additional basis, but for the Trump administration to do these kinds of investigations and authoritarian maneuvers that we all need to be on the lookout for. I mean, they're already talking about doing these kinds of group level investigations. They're already talking about jailing people who don't who advocate or who celebrated after the death. And certainly in terms of the cancellation, what I've called the industrial cancellation spree, they're going back on what they claimed was an important value for them. And so I think that you've started to see maneuvers from MAGA world, from the government world. Will they be significant? Will they be some additional amount of authoritarianism than was planned? I'm not sure, but I'm certainly like looking and keeping track because they seem to be indicating that they're willing to do some additional stuff.
I have to say, I totally disagree with IRI in particular. I think this is a really significant moment. I think like right now, in real time, probably millions of like young men are being radicalized in a way that's going to crystallize, and it's going to be really difficult to sort of persuade these voters in the future. I think that there's a lot of like religious symbolism to this to MAGA for what happened. Like they're gonna compare him to like literally Christ, like dying for our sins. He is for sure becoming a martyr. I think that MAGA is just really itching to crack down even more than they already have been. And looking at a lot of the responses, and I think it's right to point out the hypocrisy of MAGA like demanding that we take responsibility collectively for this person. Number one, we still don't fully understand his motives, and I'm sure we'll get a clear picture, but everybody should probably just wait until we get more information. There's going to be a court filing tomorrow, and they're going to have a lot more details. We'll, obviously, probably all of us will cover that. But
well, are you sure we shouldn't instantly react every day and switch the ideology by 180 within 24 hours, like 3 different times in like the news cycle? Because that's what everyone else is doing.
I mean, it's probably not a great idea. But like I was going to mention the fact that Elizabeth Warren, when she was asked about Democrats turning down the temperature, her response was perfect. She like basically laughed and said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Look at what the president is doing." And so, I think we do need to call attention to that stuff and talk about it because, it is relevant. It is important to point it out. But at the same time, there are a lot of like really, really unhinged responses. And, to be in this country like right now when everything is already so hyper polarized, this is just catastrophic. And quite frankly, I don't know where you guys are at. It's really difficult for me to imagine there not being more violence.
Oh, no, I agree with that. And listen, you said, do you hear like a beeping?
Yeah, what is that?
I hear a beep.
Soy Pill, mute yourself real quick. Oh, yeah, it went away.
Oh, no.
It's back.
It's always me and the audio
bro.
issues, man.
Damn it, man. It's again.
Poor
What
guy.
is going on down there? It's like a hamster near your microphone squeaking.
No, it's hold on, hang on. It's bad. It's like beeping. It's like
Can you mute yourself? It went away?
Yeah.
Does it go away when I talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
it's
you said a
gone
lot.
now.
Yeah, you said a lot there that I think is worth unpacking. So you said you disagree with IRI that this will be a non-issue next week. What about my assessment, which is that I don't think that this is going to have a major impact on the midterms? I have no reason to believe that in a year, I think this will be significantly diminished. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's hard to say. It's like it really just depends what happens between now and then. If there's more violence, then I think it for sure helps Donald Trump, like for sure. Because
agreed. I'm asking about the specific, like the isolated event of his assassination. Do you think that it'll still have a lot of like politically relevant sting in a year?
I mean, I do. Yeah, I really do.
Fair enough.
I really do. I think this is really, really significant.
Are you more worried about the midterms now?
I mean, I'm thinking about like the bigger picture, like I am, I'm worried about like political losses in the future, but I am, what I'm more worried about is, if they really successfully rehabilitate this guy's image and lionize him and successfully martyr him, what that means for, like the bigger picture, I think is just like really, really troubling. And I think we're kind of in deep shit especially if the violence continues and it escalates, and especially if the responses to it from like the broader public continues to be like really unhinged.
Before we move on to some of the other things that Hutch said that I think are worth unpacking, does anybody else want to weigh in on whether they think that this will have an impact on the next electoral cycle?
Well, I wanted to say I agree, Hutch, that if we, first of all, is the clicking gone? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
I turned the mic down by 50%. Hopefully it's gone. The idea that people are going to whitewash this is, I'm already seeing this on the right for sure. They're like, oh, he just talked, right? Like, now you're going to get the people who didn't want to just talk. But what really frustrates me is the liberals who are doing this too, who are pretending like Ezra Klein made this little statement, like, he talked the right way. He did good faith debate. And it's just incredibly frustrating to see this when Charlie Kirk is like a propagandist. He, very much will misconstrue facts. I mean, there's like track records. You can go on even just the Wikipedia page and start clicking on links of things that he will lie about like 6, 7, 8 different times when called out about it, because he is trying to push a message. He doesn't go here to get his mind changed. So when people are like, oh, they're whitewashing, a lot of people are whitewashing. It's a left and right thing, is like, yeah, well, he did everything the right way. Now, I'm not saying any of this deserves death, by the way. It's just very frustrating that like they can martyr this person if they're able to control the narrative and say he did everything right, he was just spreading good messages. And I think it is incumbent on the people that did not like what Charlie Kirk had to say not celebrate and go out there and be like, yeah, awesome, like this is what should happen more, because that's insane, and that is going to radicalize people more. But to go out and be like, hey, this is the kind of stuff this guy was spreading, these are bad messages, and to really push back against that narrative. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know if I've shown you guys this, but they're gonna do some religious thing with Charlie Kirk. This is what they did after the Trump assassination. I got this at the rally, so yeah.
Wow.
Pisco, IRI,
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
I just want to say, like, I think that the potential for this to affect the election, I mean, I don't know. My intuition is always that the fundamentals matter more. I'm kind of IRI pilled on that, which is that people's memories are short. I'm not so, so I think that this is more apt to have long-term consequences, as Soy Pill mentioned, in terms of radicalization, et cetera. I do want to respond on one thing that Soy Pill said. Like, I think that propaganda or spreading a message or going to campuses like unwilling to have your mind changed, like that's what a lot of people do, right? That's a lot of what messengers do. That's what we want. Like, part of the whole notion of chorus media or of us and what we would do if we were to go on a college campus is to convince people with messaging and to talk about our ideas and debate people, and we have like talking points prepared, and like
Yeah, but
sometimes we
Pisco,
interact.
you'd say that you were wrong if you were wrong, right? You'd like admit
would,
fault.
yeah, for
This
sure.
is something
Yeah.
that like a Charlie Kirk will never do, that a Tim Pool won't do.
I
but
get
like
it.
but that's the difference between good and bad faith. That's all
No,
I'm saying. Not that you can't go out here and spread your message.
Sure. All I'm saying is, like, I agree with Ezra to the extent that it's like you didn't do blatantly illegal and violent shit all the time. But everything else, in terms of like the whole, he did it the right way. I obviously disagree with that.
Yeah.
And
Low
in
bar
terms
for
of-
the right, though. I understand.
Low bar,
but he wasn't being violent. Yeah.
I do want to say, like, it sucks that this happened. It was horrible as an event. But I want to also emphasize and agree with everyone here, because I think we're all on the same page, that we are not going to tolerate this kind of whitewashing. We're not going to tolerate these threats who are like, you have to agree with us, otherwise, you are going to reap the whirlwind, or you're going to face the consequences. You hear some of this, right? Like, you guys all decided to kill the more moderate guy. You guys decided to kill the negotiator. Now you're going to face the punishment when you decided as a collective to just like kill our guy. And this kind of rhetoric, I think, is despicable. Certainly, I'm not going to stand for the blatant attacks on free speech that we're seeing. And so, yeah, even though it's a horrible event, everyone needs to stay frosty, to use a phrase from like Jack Posobiec, for these kinds of attacks from the Trump administration, from MAGA people. Don't let them change the narrative.
Well,
I mean,
Pisco,
we-
you
about
pointed
you?
out exactly that it's also clearly they don't really mean what they say. If they truly thought that the left was like this hyper violent group of people that was going to kill anyone who ever spoke out, if they were like, well, by the way, then here we're going to give you the more extreme person. Like, if you truly believed that, you would think that that person was also going to have something happen to them. The reason they're saying it is because they know they can use it as a tool to silence good faith people and say, oh no, you have to shut up, you can't counter us anymore, because otherwise we'll go and do something crazy and put I forgot who the leader of the neo-Nazi party is that they're using in all those images, but like it's used as a silencing tactic. They don't truly believe exactly what they're saying.
IRI, what about you, buddy? What do you think about
Yeah,
all this?
I want to build on what Pisco was saying. I was very happy to see people start pushing back on the narrative that like NBC News was portraying of this was just a guy who was talking to people in good faith. Bullshit. Go look at his page. It's all leftist melts down as they try to fight me. He was there to farm clips. He was there to take on children. It's like NBA player going to a high school game and dunking on people to get a poster. So I really don't care for that. But the idea that he died while talking politics, the bird's eye view is important to stand up for and say, we don't want that. It was a body blow to our democracy. And if you're not mad about Charlie Kirk, that's fine. I'm not shedding a tear over Charlie Kirk, but I did get upset, and I think everybody should condemn the violence because it hurts all of us. It chills political speech in America,
100%.
and it hurts our democracy. However, as far as the future of Turning Point USA, no offense to his widow, and people grieve in their own way, but that was terrible what she rolled out. They should have never put her out there, and it was just really shocking to see what they did. And then the whole Instagram videos and showing his hands on his body and stuff. I don't think these are talented people that are in control outside of Charlie Kirk. I think he was the magic for Turning Point USA. So I'll be shocked if if they really achieve something special moving forward.
Well, we have the vice president taking over as the host of the Charlie Kirk podcast. So
In his official office, using the
Yeah.
official trappings of his office.
disgusting.
To host it. Yeah.
is that a Hatch Act violation or anything?
I
like
don't
that?
know.
Like,
I mean, at
yeah.
this point, what does the Hatch Act even mean in this administration?
It's dead law.
I'll just,
Yeah.
I do want to say on the speech that his wife made, or his widow made, like the part that was most disturbing to me was when she was like, the evildoers, they have unleashed the fire, and the cries of this widow will echo throughout the world like a battle cry. These are words meant to ascribe collective guilt. You, Josiah, you, Hutch, you, random liberal in the audience, you are responsible for murder. Now, if you are shocked and outraged like I am about this murder, and if you condemn it, I think, and even, by the way, even if you don't, you have no role in the causal mechanism that led to Charlie Kirk's death. You have no moral culpability for this crazy coward who took this life, and you should not accept any on your behalf or on the left's behalf or on Democrats' behalf. We are not going to, and we should not accept guilt for something we did not do. And it's a standard that would never be applied to them in any other context. Minnesota legislator shootings, January 6th, all other
Those
examples
were all
of violence
Antifa
input
false
here.
flags, though.
Yeah,
That's yeah.
So it is, I think, absolutely shameful. I'm going to repeat it. Shameful to accuse people, just like they did. Remember when with the Kilmar Abrego Garcia, they brought out this woman who had this daughter who died as a result of an illegal alien who killed their daughter or something, and trying to put the blood of her daughter on Kilmar Abrego Garcia's hands, even though he had no connection to that crime, no relation whatsoever. It's classic from their demagogue playbook. And just because a widow says it doesn't mean that I'm going to not condemn that kind of statement.
Yeah, damn. Hutch, what do you think? I feel like you were chomping at the bit there. Lay it on us, brother.
Well, I mean, I have so many different thoughts. I mean, I agree with you guys completely about not only should we not avoid, speaking quite frankly and telling the truth about what he said. We have a responsibility to do it because we all have normies in our lives, right? Like how many or how well do the normies in your life, how well did they really know Charlie Kirk before this happened? Probably 50, 60, 70% of the country that really don't really know a lot about this guy. And, speaking to what Pisco was talking about, the narrative right now is just really important for conservatives. And as always, the narrative is they did this to us. It didn't matter the guy who shot at him in Pennsylvania. They can't even really find a political motivation for that guy's murder. I mean, it just seemed like the kid was just really, he was Googling what is major depressive
Well, he was also,
disorder,
now, speaking of Google's, as a reminder, he was Google searching President Biden's campaign stops
Right.
too, because
Yep.
he was just an equal opportunity offender. He was going to strike at whichever political candidate was more accessible.
The other guy in Florida had kind of incoherent politics too. He was basically a never Trump Republican. But that doesn't stop them from framing it in this way. And I fear in a moment like this, when you had such a viscerally brutal murder that was just everybody's seen videos of it 50 times at this point. That can be really potent messaging for them. It really, it makes their job a lot easier of framing that as this, a collective attack from the left on free speech. And so, it really is up to us to remind people that it wasn't even that long ago that Charlie Kirk was suggesting that Joe Biden deserved to be executed. He was trying to get Mehdi Hassan deported 2 fucking weeks ago for his speech. And so, we absolutely should not allow them to dictate, how he should be remembered and how people think about him. But I think we also have to be careful when we're pointing this stuff out to, not be fucking deranged. That's really fucking important now.
I think it's important to say that, when I first heard about, so let me just give you my mindset. So when I first heard about it, there was a guy upstairs soundproofing the home studio that I use, so I couldn't do any sort of content creation. I wasn't really paying attention to the news. And then again, I think it was either in a group text with Hutch or because I was scrolling through Twitter, I saw the fuck from Hutch, and then I went to Twitter. And of course, then you just you refresh the feed and it's image and video and image and video. And I clicked on what I thought was a picture, and it was actually the close-up video. And it was gut wrenching. I was stunned. I really was. And then I find out as I'm trying to pay the guy who's soundproofing the thing, and I've got I'm getting texts from Hunter, my buddy Hunter, and he's just and I'm like, dude, I'm trying to get through this fucking thing. Let me just get to Venmo here. And then I find out Hunter was the one who had last spoke to Charlie.
Yeah.
And then I went back and looked at the picture, and I see his profile because he always wears a hoodie, and he's 6'4" himself. And so I see the curly hair, and I see the rim of the glasses, and I listen to his voice, and it's oh my God, that is. And so all of that together was really stunning. And so I did just a really short video confirming that Trump had confirmed that Kirk had succumbed to his gunshot wound. And then I was okay, I'm done with it for the day. Then Trump did his unhinged video address, and we should probably talk about Trump's reaction here in just a second. I did respond to that because I thought that that was incredibly dangerous and wildly irresponsible of the nation's chief executive to respond in this way. The most unhinged post-tragedy video address we have ever heard from any president. And then the next day, and it took multiple times because I don't script my videos, and so I was trying to get my thoughts, and it was like 20 minutes of false starts. But I finally put out like my full reaction. And my position is kind of like I'm sure everybody here. I didn't like Charlie Kirk, and I didn't like his politics, and I'm not going to pretend that that's the case. Like even like giving the initial reaction or the full reaction to his murder, not only am I not going to lionize him, I'm not going to not articulate that I thought his politics sucked, and I don't think he was a good guy. But the beautiful thing about this country, or that's supposed to be one of the beautiful things about this country, is that we are committed to the right of free speech, even for those with whom we don't like or disagree. Like, it's not contingent on whether or not we liked or respected Charlie Kirk. He had every right to say the things he believed in safety. And so, like, I almost think like the right is missing the point here when they're going after people. Like, how dare you criticize Charlie Kirk? Well, a lot of the people that they're going after will say shit like what I just said, which is, I don't like Charlie Kirk. He shouldn't have been killed, but I didn't like him. Like, they'll switch the order. They'll say, I wish he hadn't died, but I didn't like him, or vice versa. And it's like, no, you must mourn him and you must lionize him. It's like, no, actually, that sentiment's even more beautiful because you have people who are like, this guy sucked, but it doesn't matter because he didn't deserve to die.
Well, I mean, Josiah, you're talking about the party who said you can't criticize a wartime president for 8 years. So
until Trump, right? That's true. You can't criticize veterans until Trump did it, right? John McCain. So
the last time this country went through a period where political violence was, more or less common, it led to basically like 25 years of Republican dominance in politics. So that's something to think about as well. Of all the things that of all the different issues that people have opinions on when it comes to the Trump administration, like the law and order stuff is for sure, I think right now, his like strongest issue, and he's underwater like on everything else. And if people play into that, and if God forbid, like the violence spreads even more, I mean, that is only going to make him and his movement stronger.
You think what if the violence is perpetrated? What if there's like a tit for tat? Like what if violence is next perpetrated against Destiny or somebody?
But if there's like 3 more, like 2 more assassinations, I mean, I think any kind of breakout of violence, like probably like helps him. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm not inclined to think that like widespread assassinations and like protests or whatever, or riots help Trump. I don't know. I don't have a reason to think that. I really think that what we're seeing right now is dangerous in terms of what they might use to try to justify some government action, perhaps. I do want to take a point of personal privilege here, because I saw Rob Noor retweet Nick Fuentes, who said basically Hassan Piker, who I did not understand to celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. I didn't see him celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. I saw him maybe like talk some shit, but generally be horrified. That was the reaction I saw. But Rob Noor was retweeting Nick Fuentes saying Hassan should be deported and denaturalized because of what he said about Charlie Kirk. It just goes to show you
that's crazy
that this base does not care about rights, doesn't care about free speech, doesn't care about any of this shit. So you shouldn't expect when Trump starts coming, or like instituting the National Guard, for example, and overriding states' rights, overriding individual rights, that they're going to yell out. It's up to us to scream about it and make sure that people are aware that the government's intruding on their, prerogatives.
All right, what were you gonna say, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, I feel, Hutch, where you're coming from. I just think the news cycle moves so fast that it's going to be hard to keep this at top of mind unless there are some subsequent events that come from this. The fact that they got this guy and he doesn't fit the description that they really want. Yeah, he's got a roommate that's trans, but he's not trans. He's not, this or that. So I think it's just case closed. And I don't think it leads to a bunch of violence. I mean, again, I'm always an optimist. So I'm thinking the best case scenario, but it could go that route. I just think the economy is going to be what people vote on, and things are not going well with the economy, with the jobs reports that are coming out, and with the economic slowdown in general. I just think that's what people are going to vote on even this November. I don't even think it's going to impact this November's elections, let alone next year.
Well, let me throw.
IRI, I mean, I want to comment on that because you're right. You look at all these people saying civil war, we got to escalate, the libs of TikTok, the Nick Fuentes, all these people. The reason these people are never going to get caught doing some crazy act of political violence is because they have so much more to lose. They have cushy lives, they make a lot of money, and then if everyone in the country is still at that point where, yeah, you can be invigorated and Trump can drum you up and point all of this at the left wing, if you don't have the like, you know, schizophrenia enough to be able to be like, oh, I need to prove this and I have nothing to lose and I'm going to go do it, like the very few people who end up actually doing some crazy act of violence like this, you're just worried about paying for your groceries. And I ultimately think that is what's going to matter.
Well,
it's not going to be
half
like,
of these
as
people.
violent.
Half these people you're referencing, so I Bill, hated fucking Charlie Kirk. Laura Loomer hated Charlie Kirk. Nick
Wasn't she
Fuentes hated
deleting
Charlie
tweets?
Kirk.
Can somebody confirm that? Was she actually going back and
such
deleting?
Performative bullshit that they're like,
Yeah.
oh, you can't talk shit about someone who was killed. Like, no, you don't even believe that. You talk shit about George Floyd. You talk shit about Martin Luther King. You talk shit about all people who die. Like, this is not a stand that's ever been applied. And even they themselves, who are now leading the witch hunt, this industrial cancel culture, they were talking shit about Charlie Kirk like last week. And so spare me with this sanctimonious bullshit.
So curveball here real quick, because again, we will unpack like the reactions that MAGA has been having, like again, you call it the industrialized cancel culture. I think they initially called it charliesmurderers.com. We'll get to that, but I'm curious. So, IRI, you mentioned that, the suspect did not quite match the, optimal MAGA profile that they were looking for. And I'm curious because Governor Cox from Utah has gone on the Sunday morning shows yesterday, and he was like, yeah, he was radicalized by leftist ideology. And when pressed for details, he was like, it's all going to come out when we file the charges, like you said, Tuesday morning. So I am curious about that. Like, do you all, obviously you're not psychic, but are you all confident that Cox's characterization will be borne out in the facts that this man, Tyler Robinson, was radicalized by the left?
No. And I
think
back
so?
that up because he was already off about the writing on the bullet casings. He was like, hey, fascist catch. And he's like, well, it's obvious what that means. It's like, dude, it's from, this video game culture, whatever. I'm sure these other things have meaning too. Like, I don't think he ever saw nice bulge, oh, or whatever it was, So I don't think these guys understand the culture that this kid was in and the groups he was associating with. And they're just assuming this is how the left rolls. They're all trans. They're all into this, fascism. But then, there's clips of Trump using the word fascist, and there's clips of like the Groypers and all that. So I just don't think it's going to work out the way that he wants it to. So, but boy, highly irresponsible of Cox, Patel, and Trump to point the finger at the left. And I think it's a disservice to the Kirk family, because if it was my family member that was lost, I wouldn't want some bullshit accusations. I want to know the truth.
Also,
Yeah.
Patel looks like a fucking clown.
I was going to say,
yeah.
if in honoring Kirk's wishes, I think the family would want them to misrepresent it for the purposes of propaganda to the greatest possible extent. I think, yeah. But I need to push back on that a little bit. I mean, like, I know we don't know, but there's a good chance this guy was like, hey, this person has super violent rhetoric against people I care about. I'm going to be violent back. Like, I'm not going to say it's the truth, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if it came out and that was the case. It just doesn't ultimately matter. If you go back to the day it happened, before the Crowder leaked all this stupid stuff about it, it's definitely pro-trans, it's definitely this, everyone already came to that conclusion. The question they were asking in the middle of the shooting was, how many trans people commit mass shootings, which is this overinflated statistic of like this right-wing scaremongering thing to try to take guns away from trans people that was happening before this happened. So it doesn't matter. They have a presupposed narrative to hate trans people, and they're going to find whatever they can do
mash
to
the
fit
facts
it in.
in. Yeah,
they'll mush it in
exactly.
there, whatever, and that's what they did with this. It's like, okay, the shooter's trans. Okay, well, the shooter's not trans. It's probably, some trans simping. Oh, well, they had a trans girlfriend. Okay, maybe it was their roommate. Okay, maybe they talked to a trans person. They're going to find a way to do it. It doesn't matter. And that's why the Trump reaction is so scary, is because he didn't know all the facts, and he's going to come out and say, this is the left-wing rhetoric doing this, and this is why we need it. Like, they're just primed to do it no matter what. This is just their excuse. Like, they were going to do it because Big Balls got beat up, all right? Like, they didn't need this.
Well, three big things on this topic, I guess, that I really want us to touch on before we move on to the other topics. Is I do want to talk about Trump's reaction from the video address to honestly some like other weird shit. Like he was asked about Charlie Kirk, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever." The White House renovations, like everything, all of his reactions or non-reactions. I do want to talk about that. I want to talk about the MAGA industrialized cancel culture. But first, I think we need to talk about the Democrats' response here, because Hutch actually kind of broached this topic earlier. And I got to say, I think the Democratic Party's collective response has been about as good as you could possibly expect for a mass movement and political organization comprised of tens of millions of people. And even if you just confine it to the leadership, like elected officials and major Democratic influencers and stuff like that, I think it's like A+. I mean, you can't possibly expect literally every single person in a movement this big to be humane in their response. That's impossible. What you can expect is that the leaders, the political leaders and the thought leaders react with humanity and dignity, and they did. And that's something that I don't think is being recognized. I'm curious what you all think about that.
Well, that's how they respond every time. Like when Biden was president, you never had to worry about him dividing the country further when some horrible disaster happened or shooting or tragedy. He was always pushing the same message. He was always emphasizing the idea that like we should keep fighting for an America where you're not like killed for speech. And they did, that this is just I don't know. When have the Democrats ever like legitimized violence? Like in the case of like the 2020 riots, like all of Democratic leadership came out against the riots. Kamala did, Biden did, Pelosi did, all of them.
Bro, she retweeted the bail fund though. Come on.
They, like in retrospect, this probably wasn't the best move that she did that, but she absolutely came out and unequivocally condemned the violence. The problem is like, and it just feels like beating a dead horse because we talk about this so much, but the right wing in this country, they really do exist in a very siloed off kind of media ecosystem. So, when they say that Democrats encourage the violence, I don't think they're lying. I think they genuinely believe that that's the case. I think that they get their information from like really unreliable purveyors of information in the media and in the body politic. And they like genuinely have no idea that the Democrats are always good about the message after an event like this. And so like, how do you take that on? Like, how do you tackle that? I really have no idea.
I don't think, I mean, there is a huge misinformation bubble, don't get me wrong, but the narrative that I see, the pervasive narrative is if you call Donald Trump a fascist, if you call Donald Trump a Nazi, that in your logic justifies what happened. So it's less about the misinformation and more, well, the left wing's narrative of calling him this fascist implies that this is like we're in the 1940s Weimar moment, we need to take him out, and therefore that's the reason you caused this. Now, my pushback against that, by the way, this is not my opinion, my pushback against that is, well, if he's doing fascist shit, he's a fascist, and just because I think we can solve that electorally doesn't mean he's not a fascist. But
that's important because like let's say hypothetically there's a political party that's creeping towards fascism. Like how should we address that? How can we talk about that in a way that we're not going to be accused of like and trying to provoke people to do violence? But the other pushback,
can't talk about it.
The other obvious pushback against that is that it is super common for right-wing politicians and pundits to call Democrats and the Democratic Party fascist. And they go further than that. We're not just
fascists, communists, Marxists, pedophiles, groomers.
Yes.
If we wanted to do a forensic audit of all the unhinged shit said by prominent Democrats versus those said by prominent Republicans up to and including the sitting president of the United States, we'll win that competition because for every one you can find of us talking that sort of shit about them, it's like a 4-to-1 ratio in the opposite way. And this is something that drives me nuts. Like when people like Konstantin Kisin and Piers Morgan, say what they say about this shit. And it's like, we could roll the clips. I'm sure IRI has them, memorized in his encyclopedic memory of all the times that Trump is like, communist Kamala, like, and all this other shit. He said the phrase threat to democracy. It wasn't just like...
He called her a fascist.
Right.
He literally called her.
yeah.
Whenever a judge rules against the Trump administration, they're like these Marxist judges. These
Right.
Marxist judges who fucking hate people. They're trying to trans our kids. They're trying to like cut off your kids' junk. Like they
And Pisco, they say
Yeah.
that communism should be as bad, seen as
Yes.
bad as Nazism. So they
Or
believe
worse,
it's like calling
worse.
them a Nazi, right?
They say
Yeah.
worse because there's a
Wait,
bigger body count, they say, attributed to
it's
communism.
not this is not even an exaggeration. If you listen or watch to Jack Posobiec at all, and what I understand to be the central thesis of like his book on humans that I haven't read, again I'm just going off of my understanding of that book, it's like that Franco was correct. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that I know enough about the Spanish Civil War to like talk about the atrocities of what occurred from both sides, but I'm just saying like their whole outlook is we should support the fascists over the communists. And so they view communists as worse than fascists. And so it's really not about whether or not, like, according to the normal person, communism is seen as worse. It's what does their base think? And to them, they do view communism as worse than fascism. And so under that line, it's like, it's not even close. It is not even close. And we're acting, and we have to live in this fantasy world that have to be held to account for calling out fascist policies and fascist people. No, fuck no, never.
Yeah, that's why I've been sticking to the point. Like, look, telling people in my community, you don't have to feel bad for Kirk, and you can push back on people, but feel bad for our democracy because it was a body blow to our democracy. That's the only thing you have to feel bad for.
They, Donald Trump, quite literally, this is not an exaggeration. He routinely in 2024 was getting up to the podium at various rallies, news interviews with Fox News, and claiming that Democrats, not just Biden, Democrats want to purposefully allow illegal aliens into the country so that they can flood our streets with fentanyl, so that they can kill people, and then also so that they can rape your daughters and then like cannibalize people. That's not, I'm not exaggerating that. Like he said that very clearly, like over and over and over again. And unfortunately, millions of his followers literally believe that. So obviously this idea that, Democrats need to be the ones to like mind the rhetoric is just fully fucking absurd, and we should relentlessly push back against this stuff, and we should show people receipts. If you have like normie family members or whatever, like show them clips of Charlie Kirk saying that Joe Biden should be executed. Show them clips of Donald Trump saying that Democrats want people to like millions of people to die from fentanyl.
Well, two things there real quick. So if only we had a content creator in this group that does like video essays and stuff like that, maybe he could dedicate his next video essay to bringing the receipts there, having a comprehensive video. Because I'll be honest with you, everything's just such a fucking blur, and it's hard to have the receipts on hand. Like if you saw my Twitter bookmarks thing, you'd be scrolling for days. So food for thought, Soy Pill. I'm submitting that as a suggestion in the suggestion box. But IRI, I'm curious, have you done any debates on TikTok since Kirk's assassination? Oh, yeah. How's that gone? Walk me through that.
I wanted to give Hutch and everyone some good news, because when I confront Trump supporters about Trump's rhetoric compared to the left's rhetoric on this issue, they agree with me. Trump is wrong. And a lot of them haven't even watched the 4-minute video he put out the night of Charlie's passing. They didn't know about the Fox News interview where they asked him about right-wing extremists, and he said, I don't really care about them. They're not part of the problem. So I'm talking to these people, and they're agreeing with me that Trump is out of control with his rhetoric on this. So that gives me some hope.
That's good. Honestly, Pisco, Hutch, and Soy Pill, especially since you guys are much more active in debates than me. Well, you got to fire up the TikTok too. You got to do that. I know.
Oh,
Pisco,
yeah, no, wait, shut up. I just made the TikTok. I'm getting views on my shorts that I'm putting out there, so just follow me at Pisco Liddy. I'm joining the movement. Pisco Liddy.
I've been staring at your shorts for years. I can't even do it with a straight face. I'm sorry.
Oh, whoa, nice bulge.
That's right. Oh my God. No, that's funny. Okay.
No, but definitely follow. And yeah, so I'm learning about this TikTok stuff. But yeah, it seems like a pretty cool place with a lot of chill dudes.
There's been a lot of debate about right-wing messaging versus left-wing messaging, and who's more to blame and all that stuff. But there's also been another conversation going on that I'm not sure, listen, I'm not sure how much we want to get into this, but it kind of relates to Soy Pill, the panel that you were on Friday. There's this whole other debate going on right now about whether or not Democrats should disavow the violence. And, unfortunately, a lot of people are talking about this right now. And It to me, it's like super blackpilling. Soy pill. I'm like very curious to hear like how you felt about that panel and like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as someone who likes to do unhinged things on the internet, like you can find no shortage of jokes about the incident day of and day after on my page. Watching Destiny or other people say we don't need to disavow because we're going to use it as a tool of leverage over the right is insane to me. Because one, there's like exactly what you said. There's a bunch of people who don't know who the fuck Charlie Kirk is. So like my lived up TDS parents do not know who Charlie Kirk is. And if out of nowhere they saw Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, or whoever the next primary candidates say, oh, we're not going to disavow left-wing terrorists until the right-wing do it, they would be scared to vote left-wing too. They would feel blackpilled. They'd say, I don't have a place in between these two parties. They're both like violent. And like, unless it was so existential, then maybe they'd hold their nose. But that's way more alienating. And it doesn't cost us a lot to just be like, look, I'm not going to mourn Charlie Kirk. I don't like his rhetoric, but it's not good we have political violence versus I refuse to condemn a left-wing terrorist until Donald Trump does it. Like, I don't see where that gets us because obviously they're not going to turn down the rhetoric. They're escalating it, if anything. And while I say we should escalate with tactics like government shutdown stuff and redistricting and all that, going as far as they do to say, like, what Donald Trump does on the debate stage, oh, Proud Boys, stand back, stand by. Like, holy shit, if Joe Biden did something like that, I'd be scared to vote for him if he's starting to do that for whatever left wing. I mean, if there's a left wing equivalent to the Proud Boys. But yeah, I don't see where that gets us. I don't see what leverage that gives us. But what do you guys think?
I think that basically the prescription of wait to condemn just is fucking stupid. Like, are we saying that Biden and all the Democratic politicians did a wrong thing by coming out in force? No, I mean, I would agree with that, but I do agree with the notion of be on offense. To the extent that the prescription is be on offense, I totally agree with this. It makes no sense for left-wing or liberal people to be having to be in a posture of like, we did something horrible, we did something wrong. Like, no, you have nothing to apologize for defending the republic. You have nothing to apologize for calling out fucking fascists. Nothing whatsoever to apologize for. So yeah, I condemn it because it's bad, evil to do. And I'm not going to be fucking, waiting for Trump to turn down the rhetoric before I condemn it because there's a benefit, I feel, to me condemning it and then going on offense. So to the extent that the prescription is like, wait to condemn, I don't see why. But if the prescription is go on offense, fuck yeah.
Yeah, don't take culpability. I agree with that completely. I think that people are poisoned by people who are taking culpability, which they absolutely shouldn't be, and saying like, I don't want to do that, therefore, and that kind of escalates them to say something even more unhinged. I'm like, no, you don't have to take culpability. You don't even have to be sorry or feel bad, but don't turn this into like, oh, now I'm not going to condemn a terrorist. Like, it's so easy to do that.
Well, I think because I didn't see that entire panel. I didn't watch the whole thing. I skipped right to the part because I was curious how this was going to go. The Piers Morgan panel with Destiny, and that was by far the most unhinged Destiny appearance on Piers Morgan that I have ever seen, and I've covered pretty much all of them. That was like a whole new level, and I disagree with that too, because I think to me it's you don't have to prostrate yourself and do the mea culpa and everything, because again, as everybody's been explaining here, there is no collective culpability no matter how much the right wants it. You can just say, hey, listen, I didn't like Charlie Kirk, I didn't like his opinions, but of course, again, all the things that we've said, in a constitutional democratic republic, we are supposed to have freedom of speech even for people whose opinions we loathe. So yeah, I condemn the violence, and then ask the question, and then just stay on it relentlessly. And then if they want to make it about the less culpability, you can say, hey, asshole, I've already condemned the violence. What about Donald Trump? He's the most powerful man in the world. He has an infinitely higher level of moral and ethical responsibility. So how about you condemn him? Hey, Piers, why is it that you are putting the burden on Twitter randos or even influencers who are popular as Destiny are still a fraction of the importance and influence of somebody like Donald Trump? I've already condemned the violence, and I'm willing to do it across the board. Donald Trump isn't. So, and just constantly, push back and not give an inch on that. I feel like you can.
That is both. What he did, to be fair, on that panel. And the crazier thing than that is one, not the panel you're talking about.
On the Piers
he was like, Piers, why won't a single person on this panel tell Donald Trump that he needs to turn the rhetoric down?
He did do that. And listen, that's what I'm saying. That part I totally understand. All of that's reasonable.
Yeah.
But what it kept going back to, and I understand that a lot of this is bad faith, but what it kept Piers wouldn't engage with it until it was basically like they were at a stalemate. Destiny's saying, I'm not going to condemn the violence until you, Piers, call out Donald Trump. And Piers is like, I'm not even going to talk about Donald Trump until you condemn the violence. And so it's like the
But
unstoppable force.
that's
meets
the inherent
evil.
issue.
Yeah.
And like now I have to defend this because it's like, why the fuck is the equivalence now this influencer with all this thing and the president of the United States? And also the other panelists being Andrew Wilson, who wants to have a
course.
Christian fascist state that can only be achieved through violence. Jack Prozobiak, who does nothing but lie and is a propagandist and also I'm pretty
100%.
sure a neo-Nazi. And fucking Anna Kasparian, who's
Oh my
now
God.
like you know,
Yeah.
saying that Jews did 9/11. And it's like, yes, it was unhinged, and it's a bad move on his part that he looked like the bad guy in front of those other 4 people. But it's absurd that that is even allowed to happen.
That's my thing, boy. Have you seen my channel? That's all I bitch
I know.
about. Is like, but my point is, I felt like you obviously nobody, and as talented as of a debater as he is, obviously you can't force them to engage in good faith. But I felt like he could have at least like maxed out his moves by saying, yes, I condemn political violence in all its forms, even against Charlie Kirk, and then spend every other time he gets a chance to speak going on the offensive. He didn't do that at first. He just basically for like 30 minutes, they were just, what about Trump? What about you condemning the violence? What about Trump? What about you condemning the violence? Why not just condemn the violence and then just what about Trump? 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 Because I agree with you. It is, I think if you, it doesn't matter if it's Piers Morgan or whoever, if you are a person who expects more and demands more out of Destiny or anybody than Donald Trump, you are a fucking moron. You are objectively an idiot of the highest caliber.
It's the general framework of the proposition, like the no unilateral disarmament thing. The whole premise, I think, is just completely flawed. You know, I had somebody in my mentions today saying, you know, if you say that you condemn all political violence, you're giving MAGA what they want. And first of all, like, it's literally the opposite. Like what MAGA wants right now is for people to be as unhinged as possible so that they can like put a collage together and then run a segment on Fox News and then try to paint a narrative that the left is unhinged and violent and wants all of them dead. But second of all, you know, and they treat the condemnation of violence, the affirmation that, you know, in a liberal democracy, we shouldn't kill people for speech. We shouldn't do political violence. They're treating that like an apology. Like that, they're treating that like we're taking ownership of the shooter, but that's not what we're doing. Like there's literally like zero upside to this strategy. It helps Donald Trump politically, and you increase the chance of more political violence, which I think helps Trump politically. So there is no upside to this. To me, it just seems like a lot of people are in their fifis right now, which I understand. Like the response from MAGA makes me angry, it makes me pissed off, but the accelerating agent for political violence is rage, is anger. And if we're contributing to that in a way that's like particularly like malicious or callous, then I think that we are like we're not helping anything. There's no upside. We're just hurting like ourselves. We're hurting like literally the entire country.
I do want to say too, in all fairness, he said something similar later on in the panel. He said, you know, listen, I don't think anybody should be, you know, injured or killed for expressing like their worldview. So, you know, he said he wasn't happy about it like later on. I just think that, I guess, again, to just close
That
the loop
looks
on
weak,
it,
though.
yeah.
I just want to say, like, I understand and this is a similar position with respect to the shooting of Corey Compatore or whatever. Mm-hmm. You can grant everything about the offense and the double standard. It's just a separate point from the condemnation point. And if you're willing to say that, like, yeah, this was bad that it's happened, it's just another way of saying it's bad is saying I condemn it. Like they're equivalent statements, and you don't want to put it in the terms I condemn it because of some kind of opposition or whatever. But like to the extent that his critique is go on offense, I totally agree with that. But just if you're willing to say it was bad, then you should be willing to say I condemn it because it's the same thing. It's like the same shit.
It's what Elizabeth Warren said, like what Hutch brought up. It's like, yeah, you can say, yeah, that was awful. Hey, what the fuck are you doing though? Like, and that's the thing. 100%. You just take that step and you jump over that stupid little rhetorical trap of, oh, he doesn't condemn it. He doesn't condemn it. It's like, yeah, I condemn it. But guess what? You know who's doing it way worse? This. And that's why it's a bad thing. I think that's so much better.
No, I totally agree. If he's going to speak for basically 60 minutes on it, he could spend 59 minutes and 30 seconds on the what about Trump if he just knocks out in the first 30 seconds, you know, that this was fucked up and he condemns it. And he could do, you know, his classic line is like, when you're done talking, I'm just going to go right back to my question. He could just do that ad infinitum. And so that's what I think would be more effective. But, you know, again, here is where I fully appreciate this frustration here, which is it's just never enough. It really is never enough. Like, can we all
No,
agree?
it's never enough.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be clear. It is never fucking enough. And if you go to Twitter, I put one of these posts up. It's actually insane. So this person was talking shit about these stand Dems. I don't even know what stand Dems is. Maybe that's a county in California or something. Maybe Touch or I'm really important. You know about those? But like, there was a statement from stand Dems that was like, I'm reading it right now, that we denounce political violence. We are against political violence. All forms of political violence are unacceptable, but we decline to participate in this vigil for Charlie Kirk because of his associations with fascist ideology. That is about, I think, as clear of a condemnation as political violence as you can get, and then saying, sorry, we're not going to be part of this vigil. And what they characterized this as was dancing and laughing on the grave of Charlie Kirk. That's what they called it. Nothing you ever say, no condemnation you give. Remember, the Democratic politicians, to a man, condemned this and said, we disagree with political violence. It will never be enough. What they're trying to do is institute authoritarian government. They're trying to deport people who criticize Charlie Kirk and MAGA. They're trying to denaturalize such people. They're trying to investigate all of their political rivals. That's what they want. And you're never going to like assuage them or meet them. So anyone who's telling you like, we need to come in the spirit of congeniality and respect and mutual understanding, that shit is never going to work with them. And it's been tried by the Democrats to no avail.
It's not just like signaling to MAGA. Like, who gives a fuck if they're gonna spin? I mean, like it's bad that they spin.
Agreed.
These,
I agree with that. Yeah.
I sorry, I wasn't like attacking you. I agree with literally everything you just said. I'm just saying, like when Elizabeth Warren gets out there, she gave that really good answer, right? Like she said, "Oh, please tell Donald Trump to turn the temperature down." That was great, but she also released a statement right away condemning the violence, and that is equally as important. And we're not doing that to try to convince MAGA that the left is like not the exclusive problem when it comes, not even close. It's literally the opposite. Most of the people that have died from political extremism in the 21st century post September 11th have been victims of right-wing extremism. That's just a fact. You just look at the statistics. When politicians condemn violence like that, they're also trying to turn the temperature down on their own side, and we're also signaling to people that are apolitical or somewhat disengaged or centrist moderates. We're also signaling to them that we are not fucking deranged and we don't co-sign violence, and that is really important. If we go back to like 2020, what do you think? Do you think that the Dems would have won a trifecta if the media went to all Democratic lawmakers and they had decided to adhere to this principle of no unilateral disarmament? What do you think would have happened if Joe Biden said, I'm not going to condemn the rioting until Donald Trump condemns the Proud Boys? I promise you, he would have lost that election and the Republicans would have won a trifecta. So,
because the right wing does view that as what happened, Hutch, but the independents don't. And that's why your point about disarmament is so important. It's like, like we're not, if we disarm our rhetoric, the MAGA's not going to fucking, like, Trump's not going to tone it down. It's never happening. But there's a bunch of people who are not the MAGA and not the Dems who are like looking at this, who are not tuned in. And when they see that sort of person, they listen to Trump. If they listen to Biden, because these people are the head figures, that's going to sway them. That's what's actually going to matter. It's like, it's not one side here, one side here. It's two little miniature peaks bimodally, and then a huge bunch of middle of the ground voters that like matter and listen to this shit. And like the Dems cannot fail to distance themselves from the extremism of a MAGA. Like it's just a losing battle.
Ira, what do you think about that?
Yeah,
especially, and if you could also talk about like the debates and conversations because you're probably engaging more with especially MAGA than the rest of us on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I haven't seen the panel you guys are talking about. I do have it queued up. I want to watch it. But, say what you will about Destiny. Well, the one thing he's good at is putting a mirror up to the right and making them deal with reality. And so I don't know what he said, but what I've been saying to people is Donald Trump talking about this is 1,000 times more important than me or anyone else, any shithead on TikTok or anything. None of us matter. And all our leaders on the left instantly fell in line with condemning it. So it doesn't matter what I say, doesn't matter what you say. This doesn't mean anything. What Donald Trump is on a whole nother planet when it comes to him leading the nation. He's our president. He auditioned for, he applied for this job, pull it together and blame both sides and bring down the temperature. So whatever they want from Destiny or whatever pales in comparison. It doesn't even matter compared to Donald Trump. So to say that Destiny isn't condemning it, which I don't know what he said, who cares? It's all about Donald Trump. It doesn't matter.
What
to me.
Anna would say, and Anna said on that panel, IRI, is that you have the Donald syndrome. How dare you focus so much on the leader of the free nation who has influence over half the country?
She said she did
Fuck
accuse him of
off.
TDS. I'm just like,
And it's so funny coming from her.
It's the
because
president.
the fucking pick me energy from this shit. Yeah, God.
Anna is so motivated by spite with respect to her political opinions. It's who she met in her apartment and the
He calls
the good
her out.
friend
No, wait a
of the
minute. He calls her
yeah.
out on that in that panel, Pisco. He literally says, he's like, your entire political identity is based who happened to piss you off on social media the last 5 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Like, oh, I had a neighbor and it turns out he's a good guy and a MAGA supporter. Like, by the way, those people do exist. I'm just telling you they exist. Or, I had this encounter with this homeless person, whatever. So to say that, all my beliefs are contingent on either social relationships or reciprocation or that kind of thing, it's very rich coming from Anna Kasparian.
Yeah, she did offer diplomatically. She said, of course, I want Donald Trump to be better about this. But it's just, to me, it's like playing into it. I mean, I agree. We're discussing it just purely on the merits. But again, I want to be unambiguously clear about this. And I think Hutch would also agree. We're all unified in this. Donald Trump is infinitely more important and therefore more responsible and more dangerous than any of us.
No,
and
no one
The fact that you have to
be.
even clarify that is insane, too,
Yeah.
by the way. Like, duh. Like,
I spent like the even starting on the day that Charlie was shot. I started focusing on the crazy hypocrisy, the crazy double standards. Like I was way too online this last week, to be honest with you guys. It's like fucking 9 hours of screen time every day. It's really unhealthy. And
Weren't you supposed to be off?
probably why I'm feeling fucking pretty depressed right now. But yeah. Anyways, that's where my head was at. Like, so like I do think that we should be focusing not entirely, but like we should put most of our focus on what the destructive and the harmful reactions from the Republican Party right now, who are trying to frame this almost like a fucking religious spiritual war. The reason why it unfortunately matters, and we do have to touch on it, is because what Destiny is saying right now is turning a lot of heads. We live in an era where you never know if like Elon Musk is going to quote retweet some fucking fully deranged clip from him. I mean, Musk was targeting Hassan. Like, I don't love Hassan. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but there was a video going around that was like wildly out of context. Like there was a video where Hassan was like talking about like brutally like destroying someone in a debate. He was talking about like in a debate. And they cut that part out and they made it look like he was
so
literally
weird,
saying,
Hutch. It sounds like, some of these lefties, as bad as they are sometimes, are more proximate allies than the fucking Trump administration.
Shut up!
Hang on.
No!
You're doing so
Stop
well.
it.
Stop
Stop it. Stop it right now.
I'm just gonna say the focus should be on MAGA and the right. Look at what they're trying to do to your country. Fuck the lefties, fuck the tankies, whatever. Fuck the people who don't condemn all that shit, whatever. But all I'm saying is the focus should be squarely on Trump. That's what I've been saying this entire time. That's what Josiah's been saying this entire time. I'm glad that we all agree on this panel. And I'm, it is blackpilling sometimes to see some reactions from your own side. But what's more blackpilling is the state of the country vis-a-vis MAGA. And that's what my focus is on always.
Well, the president of the United States has an obligation to bring the temperature down. They're in a unique position where they can bring us together, and Donald Trump has failed miserably. And I think the conversation should be about that, not what the left hasn't done. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I will also say Pisco's friends, Sitch and Adam, will also be very upset to what.
I'm talking to them tomorrow. Any tips, guys? I don't know what their
they
politics
haven't blocked you yet?
Not yet.
Totally ignore Adam. Say single focus on Sitch.
If you talk to Adam, he'll start crying. You know what Adam said? I saw a little bit of his thing with Wick, Soy Pill, and he's like, this whole thing about the condemnations got me really rethinking the First Amendment. It's like, I was all free speech, and now like,
yes.
it took.
They're
all
like,
yeah.
In the same breath, I tried to get on that to yell at them, but that's why I'm doing it tomorrow. In the same breath, they said,
wait a minute, stop. I'm sorry. Wait. So you tried to have that conversation with Wick and they wouldn't let you on?
No, they just had like 8 million super chats, and they're like, come on Tuesday. So I'm going on tomorrow morning. But
okay. I didn't know if it was always where it had to be a 2v1 situation.
No.
Okay.
Wait, what time are you going on?
11 a.m. PST.
What? Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask if I can rope you in too, but I don't know. Maybe you're blocked. But in the same breath, they said it is insane. This is the left's fault. They called Trump a fascist. They're pearl clutching. They said, and I think the government needs to go in and say, we're taking away funding from these universities until you get rid of leftist professors. And I'm like,
Lol.
that's fascism.
Literal,
like, that's
literal
fucking
cancel
fascism.
culture, literal
So,
government intrusion. Yeah, fucking
There are people losing their jobs for literally just posting quotes of Charlie Kirk. It's happening like
Yup, 100%.
And that leads us.
it's happening all over the
Yeah.
country. Right? They're not endorsing the violence. In fact, like when you go to that website, the
Charlie's Murderers.
Kirk Murders, the very first example they give is a woman who like explicitly in the thing that they picture says that she doesn't endorse political violence. Like
They don't
like
care.
bananas. What is
They
going
do
on?
not give a fuck. And they're calling it all incitement. They're calling it all terroristic threats. They're redefining the English language. Incitement has a very particular meaning. A true threat has a very particular meaning. And now, apparently, just calling someone a fascist or a bad dude or quoting them is incitement, is a terroristic threat. Give me a fucking break. These people are your political enemies. I do not support violence, any kind of vigilantism. I do not support that kind of shit. That shit has no place. We'll ban you if you say it in the fucking chat. But what I do support is knowing the enemy when you see them and knowing their works.
And I condemn any jokes that aren't funny.
True.
Yeah. So let's talk. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, Charlie Kirk would say, I'd stand for you to say, go fuck me. You know, like, I don't think Charlie Kirk could have a problem with people criticizing him. So.
No,
Right,
so-
and his whole thing, supposedly, right, is words aren't violence. His whole thing is like we need to have conversations. That's the supposedly the principle that everyone's upholding to inside it. He is, he did it the right way. Like, but they definitely want to ban you. They definitely want to deplatform you. They definitely want you to go to prison. I tweeted some guy with massive amounts of likes saying Destiny should go to prison for what he said, which is completely unhinged. I will stand defending that freedom to say even unhinged shit, and I think that anyone who fucking abandons the First Amendment is a cuck.
Counterpoint.
Speaking of incitement, they keep repeating this thing over and over again. You killed the nice guy. Now you get out.
Yeah, you
What-
killed the
what are
moderate.
Just internet cream.
Like
you?
What, do you, what does that mean? Like, what do you?
I want
what do you-
to.
what do
We
you
have to have a
do,
Jordan.
you know?
Wait, we have to have a Jordan Peterson like diagramming of that sentence. Like, what do you mean by
Depends on
you?
what the definition of who is.
No, but I mean, like, what? I mean, what are you suggesting? Like, what
Oh,
comes
well, okay,
now?
I
you
don't know
know?
if you're
Like,
genuinely asking because I spent a lot of time in far right circles. What this is? This is the Groypers, the neo Nazis, the Black
It's not
Sun
just them.
posters.
It's really not.
but
It's like gun YouTubers with fucking
it
5
is as
million
well.
subscribers,
Yes,
you know?
but in general, the idea is like Charlie Kirk to them is a moderate because Charlie Kirk is not a violent Christian nationalist. Let's deport all the immigrants. Like because even though he's like the fascist, Trump supporting, insurrectionist supporting guy, the more far right people see him as like the stepping stone. They never want to have these debates. But the ironic part is they're also the recluse, introverted, infighting idiots who all have anime and furry and lolly profile pictures who would never ever be able to rouse around a singular figure because it is incoherent with their ideology. So yeah, they're not going to do shit. They're going to post about it online and then do nothing. As
Are you
IRI
guys-
said.
Are you guys familiar with Tectone? Have you guys heard of this guy?
I've heard of him.
I mean,
I've never seen it.
He posted something, and it's something I'm sure you guys have seen it too. But he made a post like connecting the stabbing of that Ukrainian woman to Charlie
Oh
Kirk.
my god.
And then he ended the tweet with "White Lives Matter," and I'm
Yeah,
like,
Sam Hyde did that
like,
too.
what
It's
the
this
fuck
is
are
you.
we-
This is you.
this is that was a paranoid schizophrenic who literally thought that the government had put like what do you call it, electrode in his brain,
Yeah.
and they were telling him to kill this woman. This was not a racially motivated attack. This is a crazy guy who was a diagnosed schizophrenic, and Charlie Kirk was killed by a fucking white guy. Like what does that have to do with White Lives Matter? Like it's
Yeah,
so.
I'm just imagining this, like again, the Pepe Silva, Always Sunny board where they're trying to piece this like vast conspiracy together and it has no relationship to itself. I mean, that happened in Charlotte, like that happened in the city I live in, and it was all over like local news for several days, and that's the kind of the strange thing about it because I this thing happened, it was all over local news for several days, and then it just like I didn't hear a lot about it afterwards. It's not like it was like just constantly gaining momentum, and then it fucking pops up at the national level. And I'm like, what is this? I'm convinced it's, that the right is just weaponizing it to demagogue against Roy Cooper. Because, these fucking sorts of homicides happen all the time in, like, cities across this country. Why this one in particular? I mean, it was fucked up, obviously, but they all are. So I was just curious, like, what is it specifically about this one that has lent itself so well to national headlines. And of course, my politics brain goes swing state, North Carolina, Roy Cooper.
No.
Roy Cooper's responsible for this. So
It's not.
I mean-
I don't think it's that deep. It's black dude killed white woman. It's on video.
Soypil was like mentioning the Groypers, and there's that speaks to like a larger problem right now, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I don't think the current media climate, I certainly don't think our political leaders are equipped to understand or explain the phenomenon that's going on with a lot of young men these days. Like there's a intense isolation. There's like an intense kind of like irony, as if the killing itself is a meme that they do to sort of like signal to their like friends online that like that's where they find that sense of belonging, and that's in part what is causing a lot of this like extreme violence that we've seen. We've seen like multiple shooters that were like memeing as they were doing it. The Christchurch shooter like referenced like sub to PewDiePie when he was murdering Muslims, and this kid was like memeing with the shell casings, obviously. And I quite frankly, I don't really understand it all that much, and I know that the FBI. I don't think the FBI.
Cash Patel is too busy. He's too busy going to a fucking fancy restaurants and talking about Valhalla and the watches on us, brother, and whatever the fuck he's talking about, and being fucking backstabbed because he's incompetent and bungled this entire messaging. They're more worried about their inner office politics. These guys are clowns. Even internally in the White House, they're saying Cash Patel ain't good at his job. They have to make up a new fucking role to, additional deputy FBI director to actually do the fucking job. And apparently he has another job. So like this entire thing is a fucking clown show. The entire administration is like lolcows everywhere you watch. And they're trying to come at Democrats, who are the only ones who are responsible with their messaging, compared to fucking, Cash Patel firing off tweets from the fucking toilet in some New York restaurant in the middle of a crisis.
Pisco,
But
counterpoint. The Valhalla
I just want to ask
reference. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, real quick. I want to ask Hutch about this because I think he's the biggest gamer in the group here. He's in those circles to some degree.
Not like this.
Whoa.
Not
Not like
He's
this.
actually going to start playing
Okay.
Call of Duty, actually.
But I mean,
Here's
is
pretty
this
good.
just some gamers and edgelords and memers? Like, or could
That's
it be
a big
that?
part of it. That's a big obviously that's a big part of it. I mean, the guy was memeing with the fucking bullet casings, you know what I mean?
Helldivers 2 reference, like.
Yeah.
But sorry, this is funny saying if you read this, you are gay. I was gonna make merch that says that. I can't anymore for at least a year or two. But like it's kind of funny. Like
Probably
But
off
is it
limits
possible
forever,
he's
to be honest with you.
just? Is it possible he's just trolling for his buddies in the Discord, and that's the only reason he did?
That's a part of it. That is, I mean, like we don't
That
know.
would be
but I'm
so
just saying.
fucking scary. That scares me more. I mean, I think it's more scary if
Wait,
it's
you think?
unconnect-
Wait. I'm sorry. You're saying that, I want to make sure I understand correctly. You're worried that he shot Charlie Kirk, like for irony, like to me.
Yeah, no, that notion, the notion that it's like a full irony for the lulz, for the bros, that shit is like a
damn.
fucking horror movie. Like, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm not saying that's what happened. Just that if that as described, I'm like, holy shit. I would almost rather it be a super Antifa supercell.
Yeah,
than
that
it
would be
like,
worse, Pisco. You're right, because you know what there are more of than politically crazy people is people
Incels.
trying to incels and people trying to one up each other on social media for doing something crazier. And if that becomes a trend, if that's what this was, that is 1,000 times more scary than any
Hey, listen,
political violence.
we'll find out from the charges, and if that's the case, then Hutch can be our diplomat. You can be our ambassador to that group to try to, de-radicalize them.
It's like a super black-pilled, super nihilistic kind of way of like living in this world.
What was that?
They feel like totally isolated. They feel like disempowered. They feel like they're being like everybody else is having a good time in life, and they're like ugly or too awkward or whatever, and they get a sense of belonging with these online communities that they become a part of. And unfortunately, we've seen like a lot of violence from these young men that are like in that world. It is very fucking troubling and scary. And yeah,
I can't remember the name of this movie, but there's like this really memorable like late 2000s, 2010s horror movie. I think Liv Tyler was in it, if I remember correctly.
The Strangers?
That's it. Is that the one at the end where she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he
'Cause you were
says,
home.
"'Cause you were home." Like that was like I remember just like, oh my God, that was such a game changer horror movie. And to me, like that was the first thing that popped into my head with you guys describing this, that, if it's not here already, we could be getting to a point, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where we're seeing, high profile assassinations and murders, and that line, will be almost like prescient.
Just because. Did you see the guy like live streaming it right after it happened, and it looked like something out of Black Mirror? Like he was like, "Well, I'm here at the Charlie Kirk assassination. I'm walking over to the table."
Fucked.
This looked like the AI videos
scary,
they were making
bro.
of people at like Pompeii. It's like, oh shit, like we're just there
Well,
now.
What the fuck is
this is
South
why-
Park? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is why I think it's such a disservice what Trump is doing in the right to the Kirk family, because I want to see us get to the bottom of this, whatever it was. And they're directing, the investigation in a different direction. And I think that takes away from actually bringing down the violence.
And we're it's extra scary, I think, because we have to doubt everything that comes out of this administration. Like they start doing these charges in other cases where they later drop the charges because it's unfounded, or they go into court and they don't have their fucking witnesses or affidavits, or they bomb fucking boats coming into like not even America or some like
Second
some other,
one.
whatever. And like we'd have no indication that these people are a proximate threat or are like directly about to get into the mainland United States or are even drug dealers. Like we have no indication of that. So this is like probably the most non-transparent administration that we've had, and just in terms of their constant lying. And you can see the way in which fake transparency can also distort, in that if your only goal is social media clout, which by the way, there's a lawsuit right now against Cash Patel and Bongino, against the FBI, etc., where the allegations are basically these guys don't give a fuck except being on Twitter and being on social media. And you act and you wonder like, well, why are they making so many mistakes? Why does the DHS have to come out and like, release the people they said were Tren de Aragua super fucking gang leaders after they initially charged them and tried to sell this bill of goods? It's because they're fucking shooting from the hip, asking questions later, and all they care about is the social media clout and stuff. And there's no there. It's just a bunch of incompetent bozos. In some ways, it makes it like less scary because they're a bunch of incompetents, but in other ways it makes it more scary. Like these guys are running the fucking country, and
It's a
we're all
chimp
in the
with a machine
fucking
gun,
plane.
Pisco.
Yeah, we're all in the plane, and if they fall
No, but
down, I guess we fall down.
That incompetence should give you confidence because they won't pull off their worst ideas. That's how I see
Let's
it.
hope,
That's
let's
what
hope.
gives me hope.
When he got up there and said, "This is what happens when you let good cops be cops."
Oh my, he has no
Bro.
self-awareness.
Bro.
No self-awareness whatsoever. This is what happens. Yeah, they turn themselves in.
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
he was obviously-
good cops accept suspects who surrender themselves. I agree directly.
Yeah.
I mean,
How
we
can
should-
you
we
say
should-
we got him? It's like,
Yeah.
no.
I mean,
You didn't.
Oh my god.
I mean, we should credit law enforcement or whatever for doing their jobs, but like, it was obvious when he said that he was trying to flip the script because he had a lot of MAGA. It wasn't just left wingers. A lot of MAGA people were like, "What the fuck?" When he put out that initial statement that we have a subject in custody, thank God, blah blah blah, and then fucking 2 hours later, we released him.
we let him go. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Fox had a pretty bombshell report earlier today that things are not looking good for Cash Patel behind the scenes. And I will say, Soy Pill, you're misquoting Patel. The correct line is, "He let us get him." That's the correct.
Oh.
That's the quote. No, I'm fucking with you. That's not. That's
No?
what. No, I'm
Okay,
fucking
wow.
with you. But that's what he should have
I was
said.
like, well, that actually
Yeah.
showed a level of self-awareness that
Yeah.
a podcaster as a head of an
Dude.
agency I wouldn't expect. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm usually the one to call out people who are like so focused on the double standard talks, double standard. Cash Patel having a fucking public feud with a Democratic senator on Twitter and having a fucking Twitter spat for an entire movement that was like politicization of DOJ.
Wait, who was that?
politicization.
Who are you talking
Cash Patel is like talking shit to Adam Schiff. The director of the FBI is having like public debates with U.S. Democratic senators and involving itself in the public discourse on politics. This is insane. You want to talk about the literal politicization of the DOJ? They went so crazy when Lisa Page and Peter Strzok were like sending love texts to each other and like voicing private support for Hillary Clinton. But when Cash Patel on his public Twitter is like just talking shit of random, they don't give a fuck about politicization. It is an absolute clown show we're living in. And like, it's not even that by itself is like, everyone should be fired for that act by itself.
Pisco, you just
happen.
contrasted that so well for me. Like, I totally forgot. They were mad that Democratic under the like covers were saying, I like Hillary Clinton more. And now we have the open, like, Trump sycophant FBI director being like, I am the most partisan hack of all time. They don't give a fuck. Holy
It's
shit.
open.
How alarming is it that we have members of the ATF that are leaking stuff to Steven Crowder? Like, what the fuck is that
It's
about?
insane.
What is that
Yeah,
about?
but they screwed him, didn't they? They leaked the TRN, and there was trans stuff on there, and it ended up being totally.
Now Steven
stupid
Crowder
and
will
wrong.
have to apologize for
Wasn't it?
lying, and his entire reputation is ruined.
Oh no! Now everyone will know they can't trust Steven Crowder. What are we gonna do?
His wife
fell
will leave
off.
him again. It's not good.
It's
Hey,
pretty
well-
bad. I mean, like it would be bad if they were so incompetent that they, misconstrued the TRN to be something it was not. But the other possibility is like probably even more scary, which is that, they maliciously leaked that info to give right wingers an opportunity to, establish a narrative that would be difficult to disentangle, to take back. That is like such a possibility that they're in tune with the like propaganda possibilities of something like that, and that they push something that they knew was false just so they could, justify targeting trans people in this country who are like literally the most vulnerable population. It's fucking insane. That's the other thing too, is Donald Trump is retweeting people. He retweeted something from Matt Walsh talking about transgenderism.
Elon
being,
Musk.
like, demonic.
Elon Musk said
He said that,
transgender is a death cult.
and
Elon
then
Musk
Nancy
retweeted
May-
a death
and
cult.
Nancy May said transgenderism is terrorism. Like what? Like just we are living in such absurd times right now, and it would be funny if it wasn't so dangerous for fucking trans people that are like it absolutely puts them at risk. And this is a population that experiences violence disproportionately so much more than conservative news pundits. You know what I mean?
Hutch, you were gonna ask what South Park is gonna do. It reminds me of when South
Fuck,
Park
they're
did
gonna have
that.
to kill
Like,
Cartman.
no, please don't. When they did the South Park safe spaces, remember when there was like in my safe space, like they did the whole safe space
song's a
thing.
banger.
Like this is what they want. They want their own little safe spaces where no one calls us fascists and no one says that we're bad people, but we get to call you death cult, transgender, and like it is the most soy, the most cringe, the most beta fucking cuck shit I've ever seen, and it's the most blatant fucking hypocrisy.
Okay, I just saw this clip. I have no idea what's in it, but I saw who posted it and I saw who's in it. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this, but this is really, really important. I need Hutch to close his eyes and wait for me to open them because it's going to be a surprise, okay?
Okay.
You keep your eyes closed. Don't you fucking peek
Okay.
at all.
Oh no.
Okay, you may open your eyes now. Okay, are you all ready?
My goodness.
Okay, here we go.
It can't be if you're playing the blame.
Wait, did you all hear that shit?
Yeah.
Wait
It
a minute.
can't be.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute, because now I'm hearing it through my speakers. Let me switch this. Just hold
We
on.
heard it.
Okay, we're gonna try again.
It can't be if you're playing the blame game. And I'm asking the Democratic Party, you better start looking at how you lost people like me. I've been a Democrat all my life. I'm fiscally responsible and socially compassionate, Brett, and I come from West Virginia. And now I can't even identify with the far left ideology. So it can't be if
Thanks, dude.
You don't have to actually. You can just not identify with the far left if you don't want to do that.
I'd love for him to define what is this far left ideology you don't identify with, because is it a couple of free buses in New York City and like 5 public-private partnerships for grocery stores? Because that doesn't sound like the end of the world to me.
I mean,
Oh,
not for
oh,
Hochul. Hochul bent the knee.
Yeah,
She
there
didn't
you go.
need a communism in America. So I mean, that was great.
Dude, did you see Van Hollen versus Jeffries?
No. Oh yeah, Jeffrey's got to go, man. He's
Wow.
not going to fire
Take
this
it
guy.
back.
I mean, Jeffries is going to be starting fights with Van Hollen, who's one of like the most based senators in this new Trump era, going
Wait,
over to.
what happened?
So,
Is this about the endorsement?
Put it up. I'll grab it for you guys. But this is so basically here it is. A spokesperson for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, wait, you got to give
said following.
give the Van Hollen thing because Hutch may not
No,
know.
no,
about
I
it.
Okay,
think I
I'm-
need to
you
know.
didn't
Is he
I'm
the
putting it in the private
comptroller?
chat. I'm putting it in the private chat.
Is he the comptroller? That guy?
No,
I don't know if he's a spokesperson for Hakeem Jeffries. I just put it in the private chat in the
You're
the
thinking of
restream
Brad
there,
Lander, I
Josiah.
think, who was comptroller.
Oh, maybe.
Lander, who I think is going to be challenging Dan Goldman. Wow, yeah. So this is read it for me, Josiah.
Oh, hell no.
All right, a Spox for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, one of those New York members of Congress, responds, quote, confused New Yorkers are asking themselves the question, Chris Van who? This is a response to Van Hollen saying it's spineless of New York Democrats to not endorse Mamdani at this point. So the full statement, his leader, Hakeem Jeffries, will have more to say about the general election well in advance of November 4th. A spokesperson for Jeffries, quote, meanwhile, confused New Yorkers are asking themselves the question, Chris Van Who?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
They're
So you're gonna
sassing
try to
each other.
pick a fight with Chris Van Hollen, you worthless sack of shit. After everything that Van Hollen has done in terms of optics and just in terms of like how little you've done to coalesce the base in terms of making the Democrats proud to be Democrats in the time in which we have the least approval internally of a Democratic Party, you're going to start picking fights with actual popular senators among your base. Go fuck yourself, resign yesterday, or fire this spokesperson. But I have to imagine that you approve this statement, you loser.
I just think it's important with Joe Manchin coming out right now. I think right now is the time where Joe Biden can pressure Joe Manchin.
Look at you.
I don't know.
Can't even
I just
get
no.
Joe
I
Manchin's so irrelevant. It's
no.
not
I
even
know. I'm.
funny.
I just saw that. I saw that clip and I thought we could end on like a moment of levity there. Yeah, it's crazy because I forgot he became an independent. I heard. Oh, Kristen Sinema. I hear Kristen Sinema's making the rounds. Do you guys hear that? Like she's appearing on like CNN and Fox News and like other places as well. No, it was Newsmax. I think it might have been. Like she's just all over the place. So I don't know, fellas. I'm definitely black-pilled, but of course I am the most cynical person in this entire thing. I mean, I think about it like tomorrow we're supposed to be doing the FAFO 50 thing, which was supposed to be Wednesday. Then you know Kirk was assassinated, so Governor Newsom called it off. It's rescheduled for tomorrow, and you know it's easy to forget. Like on top of all this stuff, you've got the gerrymandering wars going on. Hutch, you still confident that thing's going to pass? IRI?
Oh yeah, definitely. The latest
so?
polling
Yeah.
I've seen was like it was up like 21 points. Yeah.
But if
that-
we do canvas IRL, I have hats for all of you.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
Do you have
fucking do it.
Kevlar?
that-
Do you have
I
Kevlar?
was-
Because I feel like we're going to need that too.
I have Kevlar for me. I don't have
Jesus.
four.
I was actually going to get a chance to debate Charlie Kirk. Their Jubilee was bringing him back for a 1v20 round 2. Were you going to be there too, Soyfield?
I was in talks for that. There was the UFA tour, which the whole thing is to
Oh.
counter Charlie Kirk. We're still going to
But-
Colorado, by the way, to I guess talk to Turning Points. I'm just gonna stand not close to Destiny.
Yeah, I was invited to be one of 20 liberal debaters, and I think Dean was going to be there, and I think
Hunter
Adam
was
Mockler
gonna
was
be
talking
there.
about being there.
Hunter was gonna be
Who?
there. Yeah.
Hunter
Hunter?
Biden or Hunter
No,
Avalon?
No, Hunter.
it was going to be
Hunter the
it was gonna be,
UFA guy.
it was going to be a
neither.
who's who of TikTok debaters. So it was going to be a big moment for me, and I got invited by the production, so I knew I'd get some time with him. So I was sad to not get that opportunity because we were kicking his ass in debates the last year or so, and even like Nick Fuentes was talking about, the right is just getting clapped in these debates. The viral clips that are going around in debates are left wingers shitting on right wingers, not the other way around lately. So I thought it would have been a great opportunity, and unfortunately, we won't get that.
I saw one. I don't know if you guys caught it, but I saw that this clip was going viral. I didn't watch the exchange, but apparently Charlie Kirk was at like the Oxford debate thing a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
And he apparently went up against a woman.
Oh, she
like,
smoked him.
And like that's what I heard. Like I've not seen the clip there, but like
It's
references.
She wasn't
to it
just
are
right.
everywhere.
She was British sounding and right, which is like double
bro,
makes you look stupid.
fuck. Yeah,
There was a-
you could
there
be
was
British
a-
sounding and wrong and still win the debate against.
That's
the
why
American who's
Sargon
right.
Avocado
Yeah.
has followers. It's because
Yeah.
of the accent, not because of his ideas.
Or
They-
what's that psycho who works for Trump? The one who.
Oh, Sebastian Gorka.
Sebastian Gorka. He always says it's risible. You're so risible. What a risible idea. It's like so funny. I'm sorry.
He
you
got
were
his
saying?
ass kicked in that debate. Quite a few of them roughed him up, and I think we would have landed some blows on him too. So it is what it is. But I'm just happy they
just
Well,
Yeah.
given
In
the
a debate.
circumstances.
In a debate.
Oh,
in a debate.
Well, I was happy to be invited, and so there'll be future stuff. But yeah, I think we all lost because I think it would have given a chance for us to win some people over.
So I guess we'll wrap up here. I'm curious, what's everybody got going on? Hutch, let's start with you, buddy. What's going on in the world of Hutch?
I mean, we're just doing long streams. It was a long week. We streamed a lot, and because there was a lot of breaking news tomorrow. Just be prepared because tomorrow is probably going to be like pretty explosive. They're going to do the court filing, and so we're going to just get a lot of information. And There's going to be a lot of shouting. I think tomorrow's going to be pretty intense. I keep thinking of, and I don't know if I mentioned this yet, but you guys remember the movie Civil War from 2024?
Great
Didn't watch
movie,
it.
yeah.
Did not
Heard
watch
of
it,
it.
but yeah.
So you
like,
guys should
you know,
watch it. It's good.
it's fucking pretty appropriate right now, but like there's a faction in that movie. There's like 3 different factions. You know, there's DC, and that's like the fascist president, and then there's a Texas California alliance in that movie, and people criticize the director Alex Garland, the writer director, by saying like, why would you do that? Never in a million years would there be a Texas California alliance. And that was the point of the film, actually. And he addressed that when he was doing the press tour. You know, he said the movie was about like what happens when hyperpolarization just gets out of control. And the fact that people couldn't even imagine a Texas California alliance was actually a part of like why he narratively decided to do that. And I guess like this week, I just feel just like tremendous sadness, you know, just take out the politics of everything. It's just a really kind of like ugly time, and I understand why people are pissed on all sides of this thing, but you know, it's just it's incredibly sad that like we're at this moment, and I don't really know how to get out of it. Sorry, that was very bleak. I'm going to be streaming all week, so you guys can swing
That's why
by.
I picked you first, because you're so black.
Exactly. Like we want to.
Pisco's like, we're already out of it.
Yeah,
Or
we're gonna end
IRI's
with
like,
IRI.
I forgot already. Who cares?
Yeah, she's like, Charlie, who?
We're a
He's like, it's
week
gonna,
away
yeah.
from now.
All right, so Soy Pill, what about you, buddy?
Yeah, so tomorrow, like I said, Adam and Sitch, I'm going to try to convince them that calling Trump a fascist is actually very accurate. And I'm actually still debating as to whether or not it'll be nice or a little more, bridge buildy, like when I talk to Trump supporters or hey, you're an idiot.
Do not call them Trump supporters. Are you
No,
serious?
like
disagree with
doing
Adam.
I do it.
Just don't disagree with him, okay?
Don't do it.
What I mean is sometimes you got to baby the 5-year-old brain into a position, and I'm thinking of doing that. But I was
Well,
also
enough
just so
about
pissed
Adam. What
watching
about
them.
Sitch?
Well, no, wait. You just fucked up, because the fact that you said that just then, they're going to want to spend the first 40 minutes on you calling them a baby and comparing them to a 5-year-old, and whether that was good faith or bad faith, or whether you're structurally unserious or structurally lying. So,
You're,
Okay,
you're,
well, we'll
are you a
see.
systemic liar?
you're a systemic liar. You lie
Yeah.
systemically.
So
I'm
you
a
have-
strategic liar. I lie when it's funny.
You have
I
that.
only lie to Rob Noor. That's my strategy.
I lie to Rob North so he'll stop being bad faith.
Oh, I forgot about that. Wait, was that? Wait a minute. I want to make sure I got this right. Was that when you like
he
worked up
refused. He refused to answer my question that, hey, do you think that Trump quoting a fascist like in this way and saying a president can do no wrong is bad, until I could show him a tweet of me condemning Biden's actions? And I said, well, I wasn't even like active on Twitter, so I literally can't show you. He's like, then I refuse to answer the question. I was like, wait a minute.
to debate with anyone who doesn't agree with me.
Well, okay. What if I fake a tweet that shows me doing it? Like, because I've truthfully told you I've never said this, so I can't prove it, and you will not engage. But if I make it up, will you engage? And then he did. And I was like, okay, cool. So that was funny.
That is funny.
But anyway, yeah, Adam and Sitch thing tomorrow, 11 a.m. But then, like I said, Unfuck America. We're not going to counter Charlie Kirk anymore, but the Turning Point's not going anywhere, so we're going to go and try to have some nice spirited debate. I don't know if they're doing it live. They might do clips, but yeah.
Do you know who any of the people who will be there in his stead?
I
No
think it's
idea.
just Turning Point people. I don't know if there's. I mean, hey, maybe Ben Shapiro will show up. I know Sky News and CNN are going. Maybe Ben Shapiro. He said he wants to pick up the mic. That'd be interesting. But yeah, we'll see. I guess.
All right, Pisco, what about you? What's new with you, buddy?
TikTok, guys, follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. Very important. There's a call to action. If you believe in this country and if you want to see fucking good shit happen, you're going to be following me on TikTok. It's Pisco Liddy, Instagram Pisco Liddy. I have some other discussions I think lined up for this week, but I might review your conversation, Soy Pill.
Hey, watch it live. You got to be my guy in the ear, because
live.
someone shared a clip of you talking to them with me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, this is the kind of person I'm talking about. So any and all, like, if you guys want to be like the 4 voices in my ears, and I'm like a schizophrenic Democrat, like, I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
I
We'll
think
give you the
I think
talking
they
points.
should. They won't let Peace go on. But I think if Hutch is
No, they
available,
won't.
if Hutch or IRI are available, and they may want to make it a 2v2, you should draft one of them and definitely have that. That'd be awesome. I've only ever seen them do 2v1s. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because Hutch and I think, were on a 2v2 once with them about Biden and
Yeah, we did.
Kamala.
Yeah. Hit me up. I'll be live.
I will say that sales pitch about TikTok and the country. What was that? You just said, Peace.
Oh,
Said
if you wanna
subscribe to
save
the
the-
Soy Pill on TikTok, because the TikTok needs 1,000 followers before I'm allowed to go live. So go follow the Soy Pill. That's what
You
he
ever
said.
hear "Save the Cheerleader, Save the World"? Mm-hmm. How about
Heroes. Yeah.
Yeah. So follow Pisco, save the country on TikTok. Pisco.
I want to know in an hour because I feel like you've just lost subscribers as it goes that call to action. Your count's gonna go down because of that. All right, what's up with you, buddy? What's going on?
Well, just to touch on your last topic, I think we're barreling towards a shutdown. It sounds like the Democrats have laid out their demands, and it is to extend the ACA subsidies to some degree to allow millions of people to continue to have health insurance. Obviously, Republicans aren't interested in this. If you guys recall, part of the Inflation Reduction Act was a 3-year extension of the ACA subsidies, which like allowed us to double the number of people in the ACA. That being said, I think we're headed towards the shutdown. That's definitely going to take a lot of the headlines away as we in the next week or two, I think, because that's a big story. But as far as me, I'm still just debating on TikTok. I don't have anything planned right now. My main is suspended, which you're going to find out very soon to you guys who want to come hang out on TikTok. You're going to get suspended a lot. So for the next 3 days, I'm on my alt. I'm really, really important on TikTok.
Why not? I'm very important.
I have
Wait, what happened?
I have
Oh my
another
gosh.
one. You need multiple. Like Dean and Parker and the big boys have like 5 or 6 accounts.
God damn.
I was talking to this woman named Pam. She was an older woman, and she was screaming about trans people. And I was like, "How does it affect your life in any way at all?" She didn't say anything too crazy, but I got my guest ability revoked for 3 days. It is.
Yeah,
what it is.
that's always the concern, right? Is like you have these strangers on, and the reason I don't do this is like I don't know what the hell they're gonna say. Like they could get my entire life demonetized. Like it's kind of
They're not. I mean, TikTok is pretty. I mean, this is how it was 2 years ago. They're pretty quick to like end the stream and revoke your guest privileges, but not like permaban. Like I used to have like vicious debates all the time on TikTok before I migrated to YouTube, and it was a thing where the stream you could have like 2,000, 3,000, however many concurrents, and the stream will get kicked off because like somebody like had a dangling preposition or whatever, like and then you're back in like 24 hours. So
well, nothing will beat Laura Loomer destroying the Tim Pool podcast, talking about the death penalty on live. That was maybe the best one that will ever get anything shut down.
Oh my god, yeah. And then he was pissed. Pissed. Wow. He went ape shit. For me, the FAFO 50 thing, that live stream event that Governor Newsom is hosting, Brian Tyler Cohen, David Packman, the cast from The West Wing, Luke Beasley, Adam Mockler.
What a gig, by the way. Congrats.
That's
man.
sick.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. So we're having that tomorrow. The whole thing is basically to fundraise and sales pitch the idea of passing Proposition 50 in California, which of course we stand by 100%. I can't remember who it is. I want to say it's Representative Pete Aguilar, and maybe there's another congressperson whose name escapes me at the moment because it was just added to an email.
I thought Hakeem was on that.
He is also, Hakeem Jeffries is also on
Buttigieg,
there.
right?
Pete Buttigieg is also on it. Yeah, and they were. For all I know, the guest list has changed. I mean, I don't know to what I assume it's the same, but you never know because of course they had to reschedule. So that starts, I believe, tomorrow at 7 p.m. I will probably be live streaming the full thing, and I may go live a little early because, like, my channel does really well with views, but not live views. I don't like it's totally mismatched, so I might go live a bit early to try to rack up the views, and then my specific segment with Luke comes on at 8:50 Eastern time. It starts at 7, and then at 8:50, Luke and I have a shared segment that goes on. I don't know what the other order is between now and then. I think Brian's basically the master of ceremonies. So definitely check that out because we need to get this thing passed because with all the other shit going on, again, the assassination we all condemn. We condemn political violence, but there's like this broader gerrymandering conflict that's going to absolutely have a material impact on the upcoming election, and Democrats need to bare their teeth politically and push back politically, and so we gotta raise the hype and get this done. So
we got this.
That's the new in Minecraft. You got to say politically after everything. We've got victory in our bullseye politically.
Oh my
We're gonna
God.
kill it in the midterms politically.
Shit, I know, like, bro, like, I always think to myself, like, how could I phrase a thing how can you, like, bad faith proof a state, and then obviously it's just impossible. Like it's impossible. But yeah, well, fellas, this was fun, and everybody like and subscribe to everybody's shit, especially Peace Coast TikTok, because he's obviously trying to get to 1,000 so he can do TikTok debates and scream at people. So,
By the way, you guys don't have to get up to 1,000. There's a way to show TikTok that you have another following on another platform, and you can get access granted. Yeah.
How do you do it?
I don't know if it's within the TikTok Studio app or just Google. How do I get live access if I have a following? You should be able to see it.
Say less, bro. Say less. Thank you so much for that tip. Hot tip.
all right, fellas, appreciate it. That ends. I don't know if Soy Pill had an outro when he was doing much better as the host. The
Oh, we
last
all have
couple
to
of
say,
times.
and we've been live and learn at the same time.
And
We should
we've
have like a
been
jingle.
living-
We should have like a
No,
like
we
a
should
theme
not
song
have a
or
jingle.
something. You know, a jingle at the very end, like an outro. You know, like they do at the end of Saturday Night Live or whatever. The camera zooms back. Yeah, that's copyrighted.
Or
Hey.
the Jeeves thing where we all talk, but the mics are muted, so it looks
No,
like we're
yeah, it's like-
that was a good segment. Oh, no.
Right, yeah, yeah. All right.
Stay
I'm done.
cool.
Bye, everybody.
Good shit.